Good morning. Good morning. Good morning. Good morning. First Sky Omaha in the morning.
In the morning.
Hey. Welcome. September 24th, 2025, a fresh edition of First Sky Omaha in the morning.
In the morning.
Happening right now, buddy, getting his chops up.
Me.
Welcome. All right, Pops. You up anyway?
See, Pops just dropped that new work on him.
Yeah. All right, ladies and gentlemen, thank you for joining us on this fresh edition of First Sky Omaha in the morning.
In the morning.
Pop's favorite day is a Wednesday. It is September the 24th, 2025. Fall is here. The weather's upon us a little bit.
Man.
A little cooler these days. We're getting some nice days out here, though, if you're in Omaha, Nebraska.
Yeah.
But yeah.
I hear it's supposed to be wet out there.
It's a little damp out here a little bit. But I'll take it over what's getting ready to come. So
what's that?
Well, I don't want to start cussing this early in the morning.
No, okay. Oh man. You can have that.
Yeah, no, it's on its way. Not anytime soon, though. Don't
get
me wrong. Pops gives us a good Wednesday morning. Mad love from Las Vegas. Appreciate you, Pops. Mama God says, good morning, fam. Good morning to you, Mama God. Judy Prince, Mama God rolled up on me the other day. She's like, I'm just checking to make sure you ain't got nothing going on there over your house. So, all right, I appreciate you. Judy Prince says, wonderful Wednesday is here.
Hey, okay. Bringing the energy.
Aerials 402, hit the like button. Where you at in the world today, brother?
Yeah, man.
Yep. Mama God says, yes, he is. Wake up. Heard that. Kimmer Snipes giving us a good morning as well. Yeah, appreciate your post the other day. We were just talking about that before the show.
Man, yeah.
Dive in.
Yeah.
Marlon Harrison says, good morning, First Sky family, and happy Wellness Wednesday.
Okay.
Like Keisha said, what's up Wednesday? Tamika Johnson giving us some sunshine. Everybody is up and early, and Adam this morning. Appreciate you.
Yeah.
How you doing today, buddy? How's it going?
Man, I'm all right. My weekend has got my sleeping schedule all the way off, man. Last couple of days I've been waking up randomly at 4:00 in the morning and then struggling to get back to sleep. So
Oof.
Yeah. Like after that, it's just a bunch of tossing and turning. So I'm a little tired, quite honestly. But other than that, I'm feeling good, man. Of course, a lot of things to talk about. Did anybody catch Jimmy Kimmel last night? Love to hear your thoughts about that. Of course, we'll be getting into that. And of course, gearing up. I'm definitely looking forward to making my way back to Omaha here in the next few weeks. So that's heavy on my mind. But other than that, man, everything is everything. How's things looking on your end?
Things are going okay, man. Of course, we're down to the wire here when it comes to Fun Fest. So this is coming up October 18th, and
Yeah, man.
just like as per usual, we're trying to run everything ourselves. It's a little hectic putting the whole event together, but it's coming together and just working on that. That's what Buddy was referring to. He's going to be back in town for Fun Fest.
Yeah, man.
Happening Saturday, October 18th. More information on that coming soon as well. Invitations are going out as we speak, and we're going to go ahead and do a Facebook event page to give you for better access to the link to be able to register to come through. So yeah, that's coming up. We'll definitely be talking about that more in a minute as well. And just appreciate everybody who's joining us this morning. Kimber says, I'm hoping no one took it as shade, so thank you. Shade. You put a little shade on us on that. We were one of them shows I'm sure you was talking about that don't talk about school stuff enough. But I'll tell you what, we'll take your cue on that. If we are not talking about education and school stuff enough, and you say we're not, then we're not, as far as I'm concerned. So we will take that hint and dive into it. Maybe we can have you on and talk a little bit more about it as well. But I do want to talk about safety of the school board situation. That kind of raised my antennas up when you started talking about that. But we'll get into it. Aerials 402 says Douglas, Wyoming today, Gillette, Wyoming next week.
Okay.
Touring Wyoming, seeing them big open spaces. Appreciate that. RG in the chat saying, morning, y'all. Good morning. Sue Kessler Hagen says, goof morning. I do feel a little goofy this morning. sinuses acted up. I had to take an allergy pill, so I'm a little loopy. But
Okay.
good morning to you. Appreciate that. Kimber says, join me at Noma tonight with Chaz Stoner as I begin my 50th birthday festivities.
Celebration.
Celebration. It's going down. It's going down. Kimber's big 5-0, and we're gonna kick it off a little jazz tonight over there at Noma. So that's what's up.
Doing it right.
Appreciate you doing your party right. That's right. That's
Yeah.
what's up. That's what's up. Also, she says, but I wasn't lying, and I know that you all have a positive intent. Oh, I
Oh
appreciate
yeah. Oh yeah. Oh yeah. We'll be getting into some stuff today. So yeah, thank you.
that. We definitely will. As a matter of fact, we'll jump into a few of the community updates before we get rolling here as well, just so we can make sure that we. Oh, volume low again. Okay, sorry about that. Thanks,
Man,
pops. Appreciate you. Yeah, yeah, yeah. Appreciate that. So, yeah, a little bit of community updates. I feel like I'm
a little
feel like
hot.
I'm distorting a little bit too.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah. Yeah.
get the balance here right. Hopefully. Okay. Yeah, let us know how that sounds there. So yeah, community updates, man. A few things going on around town. Of course, we have to talk about this missing young man here, Jalen Dupree Simpson, 18 years old, last seen August 31st. We have no information on this quite yet, so anybody hear any updates on this, please let everybody know. Of course, you can call 402-444-5555 if you have any information on this missing young man as well. Um, look at the young folks walking around, man. Look at the young folks. I was out somewhere the other day and saw a group of young folks walking up, and to other people in the community, they might have looked a little menacing, and I noticed it because I saw people that were kind of walking around them and kind of not looking them in the face and kind of just kind of walking around, and and you can tell I remember feeling that. I remember walking around with my friends feeling like people didn't want to bother us or look at us at all. You know what I'm saying? Like they were scared of us or whatever. It just reminded me, like, look in these young people's faces, say hello.
Man.
You know what I'm saying? And see if you can recognize this brother and anybody else who might be in trouble out there. So just a little quick reminder on that.
Word.
We still haven't talked to Sherman Wells quite yet about this brother, the person in his family that passed away, Travis Kellogg. We definitely will get with him and talk about it. But this is the GoFundMe. If you have any information on this too, please let us know. I'll put the GoFundMe in the chat. Like I said, even we'll do this even before we talk to Sherman, just because Sherman put it on his page, and if he's down for a cause, we down for a cause. So we'll do that, and then we'll talk to Sherman, get a little bit more information on this brother here as well. So a couple things I wanted to get out of the way there. Something good coming up here. This protein with a purpose. Shout out
Mm.
to Black Men United special distribution event with Saving Grace Perishable Foods Rescue in Omaha Steaks. So they're partnering on some stuff here, and I'm very just excited about the work that they're doing, expanding the work they're doing. They're very important food bank. If you're here on the north side, you see this is going through all the time. So this is their drive-through that's happening with Omaha Steaks this Thursday. That's tomorrow. Hosting a protein with a purpose distribution partnership with Omaha Steaks and Saving Grace Perishable Food Rescue. The location, of course, is Black Men United, 4200 North 30th Street. And the date and time is Thursday, September 25th at 9 a.m. So I'm sure the cars are going to start lining up there at 9 a.m. as they often do.
Man.
So shout out to Willie Hamilton, Black Men United, all the work they're doing over there to feed the people.
Man. Food warrior.
Big time, big time. Heather Williams in the chat saying good morning. I appreciate you coming on. Pop says much better. Thank you. Appreciate that very much. Also, a few more things going on here too. Just wanted to mention RG in the chat has been telling us about this cancer screening coming up. So
Man.
we appreciate you finding that flyer, man, for us and giving us that information. There's going to be two locations: Mount Calvary Community Church and also Nebraska Urban Indian Health Coalition.
Nice.
Uh, September 27th and November 1st, respectively. One stop cancer shop preventing, screening, and treating cancer in our community. All kinds of cancer there. So this is the information here. I will definitely repost that in Friends of First Sky Omaha as well. As you can see, there's a lot of people who are partnering on this. Mount Calvary AARP, Noah. Shout out to Noah. So a lot of people, UNMC, a lot of people who are volunteering for this to be able to get some screening happening. So if you want more information, go to 402-281-3413. Give them a call. We'll put this on Friends of, so you can hit that QR code if that's easier. And this is free and open to everyone and confidential. So definitely check it out. There's no excuse. Go get yourself checked out.
Man.
And appreciate you doing that as well. Miss Erica Felt Also threw some stuff in Nebraska Family Survey. She's talking about you're invited to participate. There's a 15 or 20-minute online survey that's happening. You can receive a $20 Visa gift card if you do this. We'll put this on Friends Up as well, so you can hit that QR code and go check this out. As you know, Miss Erica Felt is our like resident, child care expert here on First Sky Omaha. So when she puts some stuff like this out, she's done the research and she's actually, if she says, hey, this is a survey we should participate in, then it could do some good for some families for sure. So shout out to Miss Erica Felt for putting this out, and definitely participate if you can. So this is you're invited to participate in Nebraska Family Survey about your child age of 0 to 5. If you have kids that young, then you might want to hit this survey. Go ahead and get that $20 Visa gift card and add to the information that they're trying to bring here to help some kids.
Man, that's what it's
That's what we're
about.
doing. Also, want to mention this right here too, just because it came up. They said that some of the shrimp was being sold at Baker's. There's a recall on shrimp from Aquastar,
Mm,
and they sell to Kroger, Kroger brand as well. So there's a 2-pound bags of Kroger raw colossal easy peel shrimp. Just want to put this out here. Go find some more information on this if you need some, but just be aware that there's a recall. They're talking about radioactive materials in the shrimps,
yeah, man.
and they were talking about it in other parts of the country first, and then I just heard this morning that they said that some of this stuff has been being sold at Baker's this past 3 weeks. So be on the lookout for that. And
Man,
anybody else that ever has any of those kinds of announcements, let us know. Let us know any kind of food recalls. We're trying to keep everybody healthy, so that's what we're doing.
man. I actually heard about some comments about Walmart shrimp as well. I think just shrimp in general, especially there's been some, nuclear explosions and some spill off in certain waterways. But man, I was just at Kroger yesterday. I was about to buy some shrimp, man. So I'm glad
Ooh,
I didn't. Glad I didn't.
you might have been running to the freezer right now. Hold on.
Man, man, right,
Let me go get rid of this.
right.
Last but not least, we'll talk about the Victory Parade that's coming up September 27th. This is coming up in a few days. The parade route is 19th in Farnham to 10th in Harney. Ceremony at Heartland of America Park. Shout out to everybody who put the work in on getting Terrence
Man,
Bud Crawford's Victory Parade going down. The champ, it's going down. We'll hope to see you out there. I can't wait to. I'm every time we do any of these types of things, man. You know me in the car culture, so I'll be going out there seeing what the whips is looking like.
man,
They be pulling up for Bud, so yeah, it'd be an interesting parade. We'll see what's happening. Yep. We got a few more things coming up, but I'll save them for a little bit later in the show so we can get on to talk about the things we're going to talk about today. Before we do, though, just wanted to jump into the chat a little bit more. Miss Kimra Snipe says, I tell people all the time, you see a young person, you should be saying hello and give them a smile.
hmm
It might be the only one they get that day. Oh,
man,
for real. For
man.
real.
Moms come in yelling as soon as they wake up. You don't know what they've been dealing with that morning.
All day long.
Man,
I can remember some of the things we had to deal with for real.
man,
So yeah, it's just the thing, man. Like my grandfather taught me, say what's up, especially anybody black coming at you, and
word,
young, old, or otherwise, it don't matter. You say what's happening to somebody, show them respect. So definitely need to do that more with our young folks. Might make the difference. It really might. Because when you're young, you want to live up to whatever everybody's thinking of you. You live up to whatever
mm,
reputation. If they think you're a bad kid, you're gonna act like a bad kid because that's just how human beings work. They try to even out the story. So you go around acting like there's some scary boogeyman kids, then they're gonna act like that. So, hey, they can walk around here and everybody they can be just as normal as anybody else walking around here and just be able to say hi, say what's up, at least look at them
man,
and act like we care a little bit. So yeah, didn't want to get too far off on that. I get down off my soapbox to talk about the chat again. She says Sherman is the truth. He called me yesterday with a concern about some issues happening in OPS. He says he's going to be coming to board meetings as well.
yeah,
Yeah,
man,
yeah, we talked about that. That's what I wanted to trigger when I put that comment in there. Maybe we need X watch for the board meetings. I was like, somebody will be calling. Marla Harrison says this whole Jimmy Kimmel has really brought awareness to how local TV works. A lot of people didn't know that there are media companies outside of ABC that own local stations like Channel 7 and Channel 3.
yeah,
Glad you
man.
brought that up. Glad you brought that up.
We'll be talking about it. We'll be talking about both of those things today, actually.
Most deaf. Sean McCarthy gives us a morning, everyone. Good morning to you, brother. Appreciate you very much. Pop says I started glowing at night after my last batch of gumbo. Uh oh. Yeah, man. Gotta watch that. Gotta watch them scrimps. Gotta watch
Man,
them. Lots in the chat. Really appreciate everybody coming on in the chat, and really appreciate that very much. I see Anthony Rogers Wright saying we have a lot of work to do with our houseless population. Neither city council nor the mayor have comprehensive plan at all. Also,
hmm.
more reason why people need to stop falling for the affordable housing scam that is nothing more than magic beans. Yeah, I'm hearing some of that. Hearing some of that. We'll definitely get in and talk about it. As a matter of fact, I'm gonna throw it over to Buddy so we can talk about what today's thread is all about. What's on
I
your
mean,
mind, buddy?
as usual, the people are already on it, on top of things. So, again, big shout out to those of you who are sharing stories and friends of, and just keeping the conversation going. Even if you're not sharing stories, you're letting your voice be heard, and that's even more important. And we're going to continue doing that today. Again, talking about several things that are happening locally and connected to what's going on nationally. Of course, this week already, several big meetings have happened. Of course, Omaha Public School, shout out to Sister Camera, had their board meeting on Monday, and there's some stories coming out. Actually, definitely want to address. Apparently, actually, this came from Sheriff Hansen on Facebook. I saw this, but WOWT is reporting on chronic absenteeism from OPS, as well as Omaha World Herald reporting on racial disparities. So again, with what's going on in DC and Trump clamping down on cities, talking about youth violence. What's going on with our youth? What are they doing? Where are they? What is there for them to do? What's really going on? And also connecting that to the houseless situation. Big shout out to Sister Kimra for making that connection, saying, talking about the babies and acknowledging them on the street, not knowing exactly what they're dealing with. They might themselves be homeless. Again, Kimra says, and that's if they're living at home. We've got a lot of kids out here who are also unhoused, and many of them end up at the library every day. So again,
Wow.
yeah, very interesting, and something we don't really talk about when talking about our houseless population. How many of them are children and dealing with situations that they didn't create and necessarily can't themselves get out of. So again, that's really big. While we see what's going on with Dana College, apparently the formerly closed Dana College has reopened and revived as a space for young adults who aged out of foster care. So again, we'll be talking about all of that. And the other side of that, again, facilities like that combating homelessness, which is a big issue. Of course, just yesterday there was a city council meeting. Many people, actually 3+ hours of testimony on people speaking out against the proposed ordinance from Brinker Harding, again criminalizing houselessness, but not just the individuals, not just Omahans, the public speaking, but also Mayor Ewing and his administration rolling out a 6-month plan on how to address homelessness in the encampment situation. So I will be touching on that throughout today's show. But again, the big meat and potatoes, of course, is what's going on nationally, how that's impacting. We will be having Senator Margo Juarez come on the show a little later on to talk about her visit to McCook and what's going on with the ICE situation. Again, more agreements, more activity, more pressure being applied by the Trump administration. And of course, the Nebraska administration, Illin Pillins folk going along with it. Actually, more updates on this whole Department of Justice request from Secretary of State Bob Ebnen, who again might be, by all reports, is looking like he might be actually considering sending your social security numbers, address, phone number, email, all your information to the federal government. So again, very interesting as to what's behind that and why and what's going on with that situation. So we'll definitely talk about that. And then, of course, as a few of you have already mentioned, the Jimmy Kimmel situation hitting close to home for us. As again, we are freedom of speech warriors. I always say, let your mind be free, but more importantly, let your voice be heard. But what happens when your voice is heard and you have some repercussions? Again, freedom of speech under attack. What does that look like? What's going on? And how can we fight back? Again, there are some conversations, some things to learn, all that and more throughout the next 2 hours. Again, First Guy Omaha in the morning, Paul B.
In the morning.
Hey, what say you, man?
Hey, yeah, appreciate that very much. I see Tamara Dwyer in the chat too. I appreciate you coming on through and talking about. We'll definitely be talking about some housing and homelessness and everything else. She's the city's homeless service coordinator. So shout out to Tamara Dwyer. If you've missed her interview, go back and check it out
Yeah.
on YouTube. Very informative. She says housing ends homelessness for real. Let's can we attack it from that way? Is the best thing. As a matter of fact, Anthony Rogers Wright says, "How the hell can you have a houseless population plan that doesn't include actual construction of low income and moderate income housing units?" So as you can see, lots of good questions, lots of things that we need to talk about and discuss and go through. So let's get the party started, get the conversation flowing. You're listening to First Sky Omaha in the morning.
In the morning.
My name is Paul B. He's buddy to God, and all of you chat chimers, glow sisters, appreciate you coming in. Share the show on Facebook. Very easy to do on your Facebook page. Also share the link if you're on YouTube and get as many people in the conversation as we can so we can find some solutions here on some of the things we're talking about. Stay tuned. We'll be right back, guys. Welcome back. First Sky Omaha in the morning.
In the morning.
That's right, Paul B, buddy to God. Thanks for joining us. Once again, if you don't know what day it is, it's Wednesday, the September the 24th. I have to keep checking myself, like, is it Monday, Friday?
Hump day.
Hump day today.
Yeah, man.
Really appreciate that very much. Everybody coming in already with the comments. We're gonna go ahead and jump into the stories before we get to that, because we're starting to do a little bit more discussion on the second hour these days, because that's just how things have been flowing. So we hope that you stay tuned through all the show today. I know that you have to hop around, and that's cool too. But come back in and check us out and make sure that you get your voice heard as well.
Yeah, man.
More discussion to come on the second hour, but in the first hour we'll definitely jump into the story so we can catch everybody up on things. Buddy, what's first on the agenda?
Yeah, we'll start off with where the chat really already is talking about again this houseless, homeless situation. Sister Kimber is saying I couldn't make it to the city council meeting. I wanted to go there so bad. I don't know if you had the time because they were in there for quite a while, man. It's being reported again over 3 hours of testimony for people again speaking against opposing this proposal that was presented by Council Member Brinker Harding, again criminalizing homelessness. For those who do not leave encampments, they can face jail time, up to $300 fines, which again, they're homeless. So how likely they are to, pay those fines and afford these things? Is that really the solution? Apparently, Mayor Ewing, along with those who testified yesterday, does not believe that is. Again, this coming out of Channel 3, Mayor Ewing is proposing a 6-month pilot program in partnership with Threshold Continuum of Care, and saying that he wants that to basically replace this proposed ordinance from Brinker Harding, saying that he hopes that the city council will either remove the ordinance or at least vote it down. And the city actually has received about 360 complaints about homelessness since July alone. Ewing says that the new plan will address those complaints more quickly while also connecting people to housing, treatment, and services. The Threshold Continuum of Care Executive Director Jason Fieldhouse said the nonprofit will expand its hours, increase on-call staff, and provide weekend coverage as a part of the plan. He also went on to say, we understand that just the current nature in our community, we kind of have to ramp that up and speed that process up. So we're committed to changing those approaches. Which is kind of a change in tune from what we've seen. Of course, not only the ordinance proposed by Brinker Harding, but a few of you have already commented and responded to what we heard from Sheriff Aaron Hansen about his proposal to have people move in the houseless into their homes, even though he himself acknowledged that it was kind of a tongue-in-cheek comment. He would never do that and understands that people would never do that. But again, all that and not really proposing any actual solutions. Really, what I'm seeing from Mayor Ewing in this 6-month plan is kind of the first solution or idea breaking away from criminalizing homelessness that we've seen thus far. So again, shout out to the Mayor Ewing, those with Threshold Continuum of Care, everybody involved with the houseless situation, at least trying to help and not criminalize those already struggling.
Yeah, there you go. That 3 hour meeting, they had a lot of people in there testifying. A lot of people that are in the situation too. I found interesting that they showed up and told their stories as well. This has gone on a lot. This is another one of them circumstances that I see many different groups, many different backgrounds, many different sides of town, and many different parts of the state getting together and wanting to voice their opinion about how criminalizing people who are in a situation is not the way to go. So another instance of like Nebraska, kind of bucking against some of the things that have been presented. And I appreciate how Channel Three put in their description or their title of their article that Mayor Ewing was against criminalizing, so they can
Mm.
get right to the point of that. We got to think of some other solutions, like Tamara Dwyer, who was in here a little earlier, saying, housing is the solution. House
Mhm.
these people.
Man,
We don't need to figure out a whole bunch of other things to do, but to house these people. How simple is that? So of course it's going to be, where does the money come from? Who does that? And so on and so forth. But again, like Buddy always says, what's the government for if not to support the people who live in it? What are these taxes going to if not to come back to help people who are in need?
what are we
So
doing? Make it
what are we
make
doing?
sense. Make it make sense. But yet and still, those who hold the seats hold the power and ultimately the decisions. Which again, in this situation, it comes down to city council. Even with again Mayor Ewing presenting his 6-month pilot program, it still comes down to city council voting on Brinker Harding's ordinance and deciding which ultimately direction the city will go. In particular, council member Don Rowe says he's not sure how he'll vote, but praised Harding for quote unquote sparking the conversation. Again, Harding did agree that his intention in his post hearing comments, saying a lot of people assume I'm cold hearted individual, but he said he's been talking with people addressing homelessness and said people in his own family have experienced homelessness. So hopefully, cooler heads will prevail and we'll figure out more of a solution than a punishment for those already struggling. So,
Yep, we'll continue some of this conversation in the second hour. In the meantime, I see you guys in the chat saying some pretty interesting stuff. Anthony
yeah.
Rogers Wright saying the taxes we don't collect in the short term because of TIFs could have been used for better social services. The TIF and affordable housing scams will be the city's downfall. Whew, Mama God says not just housing, but housing and proper services. Got to remind ourselves about that for sure. Linda Latham in the chat, good morning. Appreciate you coming on through. Also, Cheryl Weston in the chat saying, good morning to you, Miss Weston. We don't see you much on the morning show anymore, so we appreciate you being here. Councilwoman Melton alluded to moving the vote to next week. Say no, encourage the city council to vote next week and not to postpone the vote. Give the mayor's 6-month proposal a chance. Okay, you're for the proposal. That's good. That's interesting. Good to know. Also, yeah, that's what making me think. Reach out to your city council members because those are the people that are going to be voting on this first. Call them, write them letters, do whatever you got to do, and voice your opinion there. So, uh, what's going on, buddy? Oh, there you are. You back?
I'm back.
He's back. So yeah, just the city council got to vote on this. That means call your representative first and foremost. Also, also I see Tamara Dwyer in the chat again saying not many people I talk to on the street want to go to shelter, but not many people I talk to on the street want to go to shelter, but every single person wants help with housing.
There
Yeah,
you go.
yeah, I can imagine. Not everybody. I was just listening to an interview from a houseless man the other day. I can't even remember what show that was on, but he was saying, "Yeah, I really like to go to those shelters. Too many people there. I can't. Some people can't deal with a whole bunch of people. I know
Mhm.
I can't deal with no whole bunch of people.
I mean, especially if
Leave-
you're already dealing with mental health issues. Like, if you're already dealing with mental health issues and then you're in a crowded space, people taking your stuff, like that happens in shelters. That's a reality in shelters. It's sometimes not the safest space. And they're all full. Like, let's talk about that. You know what I mean?
Right.
Space is already limited to begin with, and so that's not the answer.
Yeah. Kimber in the chat said the police moved a couple of encampments in my city council district, which, by the way, has the most. And my thing is now instead of people actually having a place to be, there's nothing but a bunch of trash. They haven't come and done anything with it.
Hmm.
That's unfortunate. Donnell Sessions in the chat saying good morning, appreciate you very much. She says, Kimber says this man had all of his stuff in a shopping cart. Now it's just all stuff all over the place. So what exactly happens when they move them? That's super interesting. So they talk about clearing these camps. They ain't doing it, but sounds like they ain't doing nothing but just spreading the trash around or just destroying the camps so that it's make it harder for people that are there. But nothing being cleared. Um, I think I saw something on one of the reporters on Channel 3 talked about a couple of places that she saw some camps before, and now they're cleared. So who really knows what they're doing? But really, like all these efforts really could go to, you know, just housing, just figuring out the housing part. It is all this other stuff. I think they're trying to respond all the time to people that are calling up. All these people calling up complaining. There's some houseless people, homeless people right outside, right in the alley next to my house or whatever. Come do something about it. And how many what would happen if that wasn't happening? What would happen if people weren't calling to complain? What would be their strategy then? Just just a question I'm kind of thinking about now. So but anyway, yeah, more on this. You see something in the chat there catching your eye?
No, I'm actually thinking about something else as far as like freedom. What if somebody wanted to be homeless?
Hmm.
What if somebody wanted to be off the grid? What if somebody didn't want to be stressing about bills? They were fine in the situation that they're in. They didn't have mental health issues.
Mm.
They were just aware of society and wanted to unplug. What's wrong with that?
I think it's probably a lot less people
Of
that do
course, of
that,
course, it's people dealing with financial issues, mental health, like it's people
struggling
struggling.
more.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Yeah,
But again, that's where my mind went. You asked, and
but
that's
yeah, just freedom. You're right.
right,
Like
right. Are we free in this country? Really? Which
if,
we'll be
if
talking about throughout today.
in public spaces, especially, why not?
I remember growing up, I had a there in Mama God, you might remember this guy. There was a gentleman who apparently owned a plot of land. He was former military and he lived in a shack down the street from my house. And I don't know if he owned this land, but as far as I know, he was the neighborhood homeless guy. You know what I mean? I would walk past his plot of land on my way home from school, and he would, he had his fatigues on, his military bags, and he lived in a shack. And he was fine with that. Like that's what he wanted.
Mm. Yeah, need the simple life. It does
Yeah, I
come
mean,
down to a matter of freedom and what you're doing in the country you live in.
yeah. Again, that's just a thought. It's just a thought. But you are right. A majority of the people are struggling and do need help in some regard, and essentially shouldn't be criminalized. So I am with Sister Wanda Lewis. I am curious to see how the 6-month pilot program works out. I think it is a better idea than just locking people up and finding people who are already struggling. Like that doesn't seem like a very good idea. So um, we'll see.
Yeah. And we're saying most people are struggling. I'm saying everybody on the street is struggling. There's
Man,
only one reason you're gonna be out there, really, when it comes down to it.
man, it's folks
Kim,
that ain't on the street struggling.
right? Kimmer noted that earlier too. Like we talked about the babies. Kids sometimes be having to jump from couch to couch. That's also being houseless.
Yeah.
Tamara Dwyer in the chat says that then that's truly a choice. If someone has options and that is their choice, that's fine. But most people don't have any other choice, and they have to get comfortable with not having a home,
Mhm.
and that's the real problem too. So yeah,
Word.
appreciate your comments on that for sure. Cheryl Weston in the chat is also saying the delay in being cleaned up has been delayed purposely to draw attention to the problem. He says it is the city parks department, public works department, and housing coordinator. Okay, interesting. Senator Terrell McKinney in the chat. Good morning. Says they displaced the homeless population due to new development with no plan. The city exacerbated the problem. It exacerbated the problem. Criminalizing homelessness is a horrible idea. Appreciate your comment on that. That's interesting to hear that from your perspective as well. That there's no that the displaced homeless population due to new development. We don't really think about that too much. The new development part.
Mm.
Lots of construction, lots of apartment buildings. Companies that we have talked about in the past that have come from other states, even buying up plots and building apartment complexes. So where are these people going? The displacement. We saw the displacement happen with Mayor Stothard with people trying to kick people off the stairs of the library downtown.
Mhm.
And lo and behold, the library was demolished and a new building is there. And it's like the first stage is to push the people out. And I can see that happening. So Donnell Sessions in the chat says the shelter downtown seems like a breeding ground for abuse. This shelter
Mm.
we speak of was just developed under Stothard. I was shocked when they coveted it when they covered it in the news. She says who had, who that had ever been in the situation or has compassion would approve 100s of bunk beds in a room for families. This is really interesting comment. Yeah, who that's been in that situation? Um, okay, who has been in that situation would approve of some of the things that some of the solutions that have been presented, like hundreds of bunk beds in one room for families.
Man.
Makes a lot of sense. Let's move on from this subject, and we'll get to some more before our guests come in. If you're just joining us now, we're going to have Senator Margo Juarez in shortly. Right now, it's 7:35. You believe in the concept of time? First guy, Omaha in the morning.
In the morning.
That's right. Thank you for all your comments, buddy. What are we moving to?
Yeah, got a lot to talk about. So I appreciate that. Wanted to keep it moving. Of course, keep the comments going. Let your mind be free. Let your voice be heard. But we're going to move on to some other things, man. Again, Kimra says we don't talk about education enough, and I wanted to touch on a few things, which is undoubtedly connected to this conversation of homelessness and houselessness. We don't know which percentage of our houseless individuals are children, are youth,
I thought we
and
I thought we might know that. I think we talked to Tamara
hey,
Clark.
Tamara, you're in the chat. If you have that number, let us know what percentage of houseless individuals are youth. But that is something that does need to be talked about and does need to be considered, especially when you look at reports similar to what you see coming out of WOWT Channel 6, which is reporting that Omaha Public Schools are working to address chronic absenteeism in the district. So if children aren't going to school, where are they going? What are they doing throughout the day? What's really going on? Again, attendance is a major issue in schools, according to this article across the country, especially since the COVID-19 pandemic. For some students, there are compounding barriers that prevent them from walking into the building. Omaha Public Schools is working to address attendance issues in the district, one of which Dean of Students at Buena Vista High School, Kayla Pitt, is saying that the years that were impacted by COVID, those deeply impacted our student attendance rates. We have since seen a recovery effort when it comes to student attendance. A report released by OPS last year showed more than 40% of students in the district in the district were chronically absent, meaning they miss at least 10% of school. Attendance has a ripple effect across the student's education. Of course, if you're not going to school, it's kind of hard to get the education on top of the social benefits from going to school. According to Nebraska Department of Education, OPS has a 72% graduation rate, which is actually below the average of 88%. This is something we've been talking about for months here on this show, really years, as far as OPS, what's going on with OPS. Actually, shout out to Bridget Fogarty, who actually does some reporting on absenteeism, expulsion, tardiness, street schools, and that whole aspect of it. So again, big shout out to the Reader family, Bridget Fogarty, and the work that they've done. But this has been an issue, and yet here we are. And I will put in the caveat that this article came on my radar because it was posted by Sheriff Aaron Hansen on Facebook, which undoubtedly is being used to push this narrative of our youth being so dangerous and they need to be locking up 12-year-olds. So again, here we are.
Yeah. Appreciate you tying that together for sure. Miss Dwyer in the chat a little earlier here. Where did she put it? She gave us some stats. She says about 14%. We're talking about kids
Mm.
that are homeless. It's around 200. It's around 200 children. She also went on to say the school districts have a broader definition than HUD, so their numbers would be higher.
Hmm.
That's interesting. I'd like to see the school districts numbers when it comes to that as well. And
Camera.
didn't really realize how different. Yeah, there's a couple different things going on there. So I appreciate that information for sure. We'll definitely be talking to Kimmer about that. And to that point, Kimmer's point on her video was really about the fact that what's going on in OPS is just as important as what's going on anywhere else. They have $1 billion budget that is a little bit more than the city's budget, and there's so much to talk about there. Tony Johnson, I was thinking of you when we was reading this. He says, "Does the high level of black suspensions and expulsions contribute to these attendance numbers?"
Mm.
This is something that you bring up often, so I definitely thought of you when we started talking about that. It's a good question. It's a very good question, but we'll have to dig in a little bit on that. Also, Ms. Dwyer says the school districts have a broader definition. Oh, I already read that. Yeah, I
Mm.
appreciate that very much. Tony Johnson says are not addressing the report, but out hiding ongoing increasing trend of black suspensions. We talked about this increasing trend of black suspensions before. It definitely is part of this. Just this week, a couple friends of mine talked about their kids having to be suspended. It seems to be kind of a regular thing, even kind of implying a little bit that sometimes black kids are kind of used to having to go to in class detention and after school detention and all kinds of stuff because it's so rampant. Any
Hmm.
little thing that happens, any little thing they do, you know what I'm saying? Any little thing they do is being monitored, and there is in threat of being suspended. And somebody said you're not learning nothing if you're suspended. If you're not in school, you're not learning nothing. So
That
like
part,
to your point, what are they doing?
man.
Walking around all day, right?
I actually have the numbers right in front of me. Shout out to Omaha World Herald reporting on this. To your point, Tony Johnson. Actually, apparently, the numbers of suspensions and expulsions have gone down across the board.
Mm,
Like the actual numbers, according to this article, of suspensions and expulsions has gone down, decreased by 24%. Short-term suspensions, that will be suspensions of 5 days or fewer, have decreased by 18%, and long-term suspensions that's are 6 to 19 days, those have decreased by 24%. And the longer semester long expulsions, just completely being kicked out for a semester, that has also decreased 18%. However, the number of students that still are being expelled and suspended are disproportionate to that point. Students identifying as Black, American Indian, or Alaskan Native, or two or more races, continue to be suspended at a disproportionate rate, while Black students, according to the article, makes up 23% of the student population. That's during the 24-25 school year. Black students made up nearly half of both in school and out of school suspensions. Again, while only representing 23%, Black students made up nearly 45% of both in school and out of school suspensions. That's not to mention Native students, Hispanic students. So, when we're talking about quote unquote minority students being suspended, it could easily be towards 60-70% of students being suspended only being students of color.
mm, that's heavy.
It is. It is. And I can't read this article, go through this article without saying the preschool to prison pipeline. That's what it is.
Sue Kessler Hagen in the chat. Good morning. Says my question is, what are they doing to address absence though? Are they going to provide help to those are missing school, or just punish them for it? Punish them. It doesn't seem like there's much help being provided, um, which is unfortunate.
Um,
Uh, Go ahead.
well, to answer that question, I did towards the bottom of that article. It says every high school, middle school, and select elementary schools and OPS apparently are working with a consulting group. The total cost of the partnership is about $1.1 million. But apparently there's a group that are helping one-on-one contacts with students, positive recognition for kids coming to school, regular outreach to families at home. So there are some solutions that they're trying, especially again approaching homes. But you know there has to be more, obviously.
Hmm. Interesting. Juan Lewis in the chat is saying if low income housing and SNAP was affected, but because of truancy, I bet it would have an impact then.
Hmm.
Interesting. Also, Anthony Rogers Wright with some insights. The big difference between U.S. and China is that China sees public education as national security. The U.S. sees public education as a nuisance. Interesting. Cheryl West in the chat says the question, why have they gone down? Could it be absenteeism? If they are not in school, they cannot be suspended.
It's a good
That's
point.
a really good point. Very good point. Also, Senator McKinney he says it would be worse if I didn't pass that bill to prohibit the suspension of pre-K and second graders, but they want to change that. Wow, forgot all
Mm.
about that. Passed the bill to prohibit suspensions of kids that young. They would have continued to do that if that bill hadn't get passed. So there you go.
And those
That's
numbers would definitely be up.
that's crazy. Um, we we're going to move on from this because we have a special guest coming on here in just a second, and we're going to bring her in just a minute. But just wanted to mention it's kind of interesting too to be thinking about this situation and not think about how parents sometimes are getting criminalized by it comes back on the parents if the kids aren't there. They I remember there being threats of punishment to the parents. There's a fines that people had to pay. I remember from a story before. So there's more to this too. Like it's not just they're not showing up, but what are the consequences for that? What happens when the district wants to either move them along? There's so many questions that it's coming up. I'm not really articulating right, but so many questions that are coming up to me when it comes to family support. We always talk about just
Hmm.
not just supporting the kids, but what kind of support the family needs to get the kids, where they need to go to and engage with OPS, with the school district in order to help the kids thrive.
Man, I mean, I'm thinking along the lines of Tony Johnson. Everybody getting rich off our demise. I mean, when you think about a capitalistic society and a capitalistic system, who's being capitalized? Like, where, like who's
Who's being
some
capitalized?
man, like somebody's demise, somebody's downfall. Somebody has to get the short end of the deal for you to come up. That's ain't that how the system works?
Well, I'll tell you what. I'll tell you this. One of the things that I have heard too and have read is that there's been some drop off when absenteeism and things like that are happening, not just because of criminalization, homelessness, and these areas that we've been talking about, but also these ICE raids
There you go.
and people staying home from school because they are scared that they might get snatched up because we still don't know if ICE enters schools in other parts of the country, and that could be happening here as well. Not to mention, some people are just staying home just because they're scared when they go to school, their parents are going to get taken away. There's a lot to this, and we'll talk a little bit about this with our next guest coming up right now at 7:46. If you are believing the concept of time, that is, you're listening to
Hey,
First Sky Omaha in the morning,
in the morning,
and we have Senator Margo Juarez in the chat with us this morning. Good morning.
Good morning. Can you hear me okay?
We can
loud
hear
and
you
clear,
loud and
loud and
clear.
clear.
Appreciate
Yeah.
it.
Perfect.
How are you doing this morning?
Well, I got to tell you guys, this is early to be talking on the radio for me. I know you guys are used to it, but I'm like,
A little
oh,
bit.
I better get some coffee.
Trust me, I'm absolutely not used to. We're a couple of musicians, so morning to us is noon. So this
Yep.
is this is
Oh,
very early to us as well. But
yes.
we
If you're musicians, this is a struggle for you too, I'm sure, some mornings.
Oh yeah, yeah. Around this time, I'm usually getting off of work.
right.
But thank you for joining us this early morning. For those who don't know, again, we have Senator Margo Juarez on with us. It's how are you doing? Let's just kind of start there with everything going on. How are you feeling?
Well, thank you so much for inviting me to speak on your program today. And I got to tell you, I have just been super busy since I just ended my first term in the legislature, and this is supposed to be our time off. It does not feel like it's been time off. That's for sure. But
Yeah.
I'm experiencing this first time of time off, and I have been swamped, and it's good. I'm not complaining. I really enjoy it. So I just didn't expect it to be so busy, I guess.
Yeah, yeah, we've been seeing you everywhere, especially with this ICE situation getting activated. Of course, you joined our friend Paul Philman on the governor's lawn for that protest, and actually being the first lawmaker to pull up to McCook. We appreciate that tenacity. When the doors are closed and questions are getting answered, you still pulled up and got your own answers. Let's kind of start there. What was your mindset, and what made you decide to just go and see for yourself?
Well, I have to tell you, people have been nice in showing that they're grateful that I have gone out to McCook and that I went out to North Platte, because obviously neither one of the facilities are in my district.
Mhm.
But that didn't keep me from going beyond my borders, I'll say, of my district. And I am just very upset about the idea of McCook being turned into a detention center. And I decided that I wanted to go and check out the facilities for myself, see that everybody's doing okay, and going down to see this facility that I wasn't familiar with, and is it really going to be a place that can accommodate all of the people that they plan on hosting in the facility, since we're going to be this so-called Midwest hub?
Appreciate that. For those of you that don't really know, the McCook Center is where they're talking about putting this Cornhusker Clink that we've been talking about. This is they're trying to turn it into an ICE detention center, and and then also the raids that just happened. There were some raids that happened at some certain businesses. Some women got arrested and they're being held. And where was that they're being held at again? Did you say?
Right now, they're in the North Platte County Jail. I think it's Lincoln County there,
Mm-hmm.
but that's where they're at right now. There's more women than there are men. There was only 4 men because we went on both sides, and there was just the 4 men that were there. And I have to tell you that I was very happy that I went because it did help to calm me down a little bit from the
Mm.
perspective that I found the sheriff there very respectful. You
Hmm.
know, he was engaging, didn't hesitate to answer questions. And I just went over there with the assistance of an interpreter who addressed our questions. And, obviously it's difficult for the women to be there and for the men, of course.
Mm-hmm.
Everybody's separated from their families. And, being there and just trying to, I guess, keep yourself busy as much as you can, I assume, in the facility where previously they were working, right, because they
Mm-hmm.
all got picked up at Glen Valley, so which is also in my district. And I just I really don't understand the approach that we're taking in with our immigrants. I definitely walked away with the feeling that it's a waste of our taxpayer money.
Mm.
Obviously, this is my opinion, not an opinion of the legislature. These are my own. And I just think that there is another way to try to get the issue resolved. But to be honest with you, it'll be interesting to see how long it's going to take our country to change these immigration laws.
Mm.
I have tried to emphasize to folks in this upcoming election um, that we should definitely question everyone who's running, for example, for CD2 to replace Representative Bacon. That this question should be addressed. It should be a priority. We need to quit ignoring the changes that are needed for the immigration laws because the employers need the changes too because
Mm-hmm.
they need the workforce. So I just wish that somebody would finally show the leadership to tackle the issue.
You mentioned. I'm sorry. Go ahead, buddy.
Tony Johnson's kind of asking one of the questions that are swirling through my mind. Definitely finding out that Glen Valley is in your district. Do you know of any repercussions or any consequences for the employer? Did the owners of Glen Valley face anything by this, or did they just
Uh,
lose a workforce?
yeah, as far as I know, they just lost the workforce and they didn't face any repercussions. I haven't heard of any changes since the incident happened, but that's what I was informed at the beginning. So,
Hmm. So that brings me to my second question. As far as these women, you met with them, you heard their stories. What are they dealing with? Like they're being painted with this broad picture, like they're just trying to come into this country illegally and finesse and finagle their way through society. But how much of them are dealing with the red tape of immigration laws? How much of them are dealing with trying to get their citizenship and just having to go through hurdles and hoops? And what does that real situation look like?
well, when we were there, we did, of course, learn about the 3 women who were going to the immigration hearing that week that we were there.
Mm.
And those were the 3 that recently were in the news that the judge did allow them to be released. And so I was very happy that that was the outcome for them. And then I learned that one person there didn't even have a hearing set up until 2027.
Mm.
That's how long it was going to be before
Wow.
she was going to get her hearing. Then there was another person that was there who did have a work permit. So, I was confused. Why was somebody who had a work permit being detained in that facility? And so I think that it doesn't surprise me the length of time that these hearings are going to take. Because, the president chose to put the funds in the ICE enforcement side instead of putting it on the immigration hearing side. I think it would have been much smarter to make a nice investment on that side to support hiring more judges to get these issues addressed. I mean, even if you would have just done it on a temporary basis, right? Beefed up the hearing side that we need, hire more judges, more clerks, whatever the staffing that's needed, just so that we can get to the issue of addressing all of the potential clients that are going to be going through that system.
Man, I mean, just imagine you're trying to immigrate into a country. They give your immigration process 2-3 years. How are you supposed to eat? How are you supposed to survive when you're waiting on this hearing? Like it makes no sense.
And also,
well, that was one of the reasons why I was frustrated with putting the immigrants in these facilities, right? Because look who's paying for that now. We are the taxpayers, right? And here we are. We had these folks who were working, providing a workforce for these employers, and now that instead the taxpayers are going to be supporting them until whenever they finally get to the point of their hearing. And I don't appreciate having my money spent that way, to be honest with you.
and according to you, like what could be for years, the woman not getting her hearing until 2027. So it's just day after day after day of taxpayer dollars going to housing people that were working previously. They picked them up from work, which is really
Right.
incredible.
And as I've learned, that these people have to pay obviously their own attorney expenses to even go through this process. And so how are they going to earn the money to achieve that goal when they're sitting in a detention center?
Man, and furthermore, the idea that once they get into this Cornhusker clink and these work ethic camps, that they're going to be working, they're going to be put to work again. Like, is this not slavery? Is this not slavery? It makes no sense. It's kind of infuriating.
It absolutely is.
And I wanted to get into the enforcement side of it because that's a great point as far as where the investment goes. And, it could easily make an investment in, as you said, speeding up this immigration process. But rather than that, they rather prolong the process and make it harder for people in the process. I was kind of reading in preparation for the show about this 287G program. Are you familiar with this and these agreements?
Just a little bit. I was I saw one headline where somebody had signed up for the program and then realized they didn't have the capacity to meet the needs to have that type of contract. So I know that they have some on the Nebraska State Patrol who have agreed to serve in that capacity. So I'm just a little bit familiar with it.
Okay. Well, just for those who don't know, and maybe for even your own education, Senator Juarez, again, the 287G program is a delegation of authority program from ICE that essentially gives local law enforcement agencies the ability to operate with ICE capacity. Again, ICE enforcement and removal operations to partner with state and local law enforcement agencies to identify and remove criminal aliens who are amenable to remove from the U.S. So again, we can possibly see OPD, Lincoln Police Department, Gretna Police, sheriffs. Like we can see these agencies through this agreement get activated through ICE.
I'm curious, do you think that there is a way, like, would we be able to go to an ICE website to find out all of the entities that have signed these agreements? Do you know where that information is held publicly for us to review that?
Great question, and I have your answer right here. This is the ICE 28 program map right on the ICE Gov website.
Okay.
There you go. So those are, you can see it's pretty much the whole country.
Wow.
Yeah, definitely.
Yep, at least one active 287 agreement in place in all of these states. Gray means it's restricted by law. So kudos to Washington, Oregon, California, and Illinois.
New Jersey, Connecticut. That's
Yep.
crazy. That's crazy.
Hawaii and Vermont and Rhode Island and Delaware are the only ones that are kind of mulling it over, but everybody else is going along with it. So again, it's not just ICE, but now all of these local agencies have been deputized as well.
Yes, that's definitely a vast majority of our country. That's for sure. That
For,
map showed. Thanks for sharing that.
No problem, and I'll send the link as well.
for those of you just joining us, it's 8 o'clock right now. If you believe in the concept of time, we're here with Senator Margo Juarez. We're now in the second hour of First Sky Omaha in the morning.
In the morning.
And we'll continue to have a little bit more conversation if you're able to stick around a few more minutes, Senator Juarez. Appreciate that very much. Definitely wanted to talk a little bit. I'm glad you shared with us your reasoning behind going and checking out the detention centers and getting more of the story there, because we find that the problem too is the reason why we do what we do. We need to figure out more of the story, hear more of what's going on behind the scenes, speak to the source, and really kind of find out what's happening. So I had a question a little earlier that I wanted to ask you just about the women in the facility there. Do you feel better about them, how they're being treated there? Aside from being incarcerated, are they being treated decently there?
Yes, I would say so. And I, that's one thing that provided a lot of comfort for me. Emotionally at the end, it was still hard uh, when I was finally getting ready to depart to, hear their stories, see the reality. Obviously these people miss their family, like their
Mm-hmm.
families miss them too, right? I
Right.
mean, that's the most difficult aspect of it all. And I do think that some of them are rethinking whether or not they're going to stay.
Mm.
Some of them definitely want to do the fight and try to stay in this country. And I think that some of them are thinking about leaving. So I'm sure, when you're sitting there day after day and thinking about your future, there's no doubt that you would consider, is this the right choice for me? Is this
Mm-hmm.
where I should try to keep staying? There are some people who are concerned about their kids' future.
Mm-hmm.
Definitely want to get them educated, even for the medical needs, having the medical resources that we have, and wanting to take advantage of the assets that we have in our country. So I'm sure as they're sitting there, they just reflect on, what is the choice that they want to make for themselves.
I hear that.
Yeah, yeah. Speaking of their families, have you heard anything about childcare or what's going on?
Yeah, how the
Well,
families faring?
I remember when I had heard about some of the families struggling, with the child care issues, of course, and some moms, a lot of moms were removed from homes. I did reach out to Glen Valley and took them my legislative business cards in case someone would need assistance. I wanted to offer up my help in any way that I could to support the families, because I can only imagine how stressful it is trying to get that assistance of, getting kids to their appointments, now getting the kids to school, and who's going to be there when they get home, all of those challenges. Because obviously, whoever was left, if they weren't already working, well, now they probably had to go and get a job so they could
Yeah.
try to support the family there as best they can, when a parent who was working is now, no longer under the roof with the family. And I'm sure that the whole thing was very stressful and probably still continuing.
Yeah.
I'm sure that it's very difficult for the kids. The one thing that I did see, that I did learn when I was there, was that they can have a video conferencing. The facilities do have the capabilities so that they could interact with their families on video at least. So that was something that I learned, and I was happy to see that. So there could be some face to face time.
That's
Mm.
great. My question has to do with the illegal battle here too. Have you had much contact with ACLU or any of the other organizations that are trying to help these ladies, or any allyship with any other senators that are going along with you on the ride here? What's going on with the team behind trying to help these people?
Well, I think that, the ACLU is trying to look at what our options are. It's interesting that everything in Lincoln, like with the governor now, has sort of been quiet, right?
Mm.
Mm,
He made this big statement about being supportive of President Trump and turning McCook into this detention facility. And now I'm waiting to see if it's really going to happen. I don't even know how many more days are left before it's supposed to kick in. Have you guys kept track of that? I don't think that there's a lot of time left
mm,
before it was going to get started. And so the ACLU is looking at our options to see, because maybe we're going to have to try to get to court to stop it.
Mm-hmm.
I think that that's what other states have been doing to try to fight this change. And I'm sure it won't be any different for us. I don't know any other options uh, to really get it to stop without going to court. So I'm sure they're trying to think of a strategy on how we could pursue that should we need to. And I wanted to mention to you, when I went down to McCook, I was concerned about what's going to happen for the prisoners that are there, right?
mhm,
Mm.
And I did want to mention to you that there are definitely some of them who are concerned.
mm,
And, they don't know where they're going.
Mm.
They don't want to change. Some of them didn't have any issues with it, but some of them were very apprehensive, especially when they're almost getting ready to be released, right?
Mm-hmm.
Like one person, I think, had 6 months left, and now all of this upheaval for them.
wow.
To me, it's not fair to them either about what's being imposed on them. And the thing that did frustrate me was that I told them that I would try to advocate for them also. And I wish that those who are closer at the end of their term, that they could just go home instead of going through all of this chaos of being placed in other facilities.
Mm-hmm.
And then it was mentioned about, well, the parole board has to approve that. And my question was, well, if the governor says he's the executive and he can make the decision on whether or not this facility can now be a detention facility, when obviously the legislature has oversight of the prison facilities, right?
Mm-hmm.
Why can't you, as an executive, make the decision to release those who are close to being done with their term and let them go home? Why can't that be an executive position? So
Yeah.
I just have questions for how we are going forward, and I appreciate the opportunity to be vocal, to let folks know how I feel, and that I'm not only looking out for the future of the immigrants, but I'm also concerned about the prisoners. And my Senator Dinixie Gredeka, who's also represents South Omaha, he of course has been concerned. And, also with the prison population, Senator
Mm-hmm.
Spivey and Senator McKinney, they're also concerned about these changes. I appreciated that Senator McKinney took the leadership to have the hearing when they wouldn't have it on the judiciary side. So I very much appreciate their leadership in trying to address the issues.
Yeah, I was actually going to ask about that hearing, so I'm glad you mentioned it. And just you appreciate your comments about just the prison population in general. As as much as I have this microphone in my face, I remind people that Nebraska has, one of the, if not the most overcrowded prison population in the country. Again, packing them in like sardines, which is not healthy, not helping anybody. So again, thank you for your voice.
Yes,
Absolutely.
and you know what? That's exactly what's going to happen at that detention center. That's
Mm,
why I went to go and tour the facility, because I wanted to see, okay, how do you think you're going to accommodate all these people? You say that you're going to be able to have upwards of 300 folks in that place. That's exactly what it's going to be, packed in like sardines, c- continuing with the same consistency, right? How
mm-hmm.
we have the other prison in Nebraska, and now they'll be doing the same thing at this place, because to me, my opinion, no way can you accommodate 300 people in that place.
There you go.
Good information there. I'm going to jump in the chat real quick.
Mhm.
Brother Pena Valdez in the chat says, "Thank you, Senator Margo. Appreciate that very much. I think he was one of the ones that testified at that hearing as
Yep.
well, and
Yep.
very emotional testimony that he gave. That we really appreciated. Also, Michelle Western is asking, why are only certain employers being targeted? There are more employers that are using immigrants than are not being targets. That's an interesting question as well. I wonder why they went right to certain places first. Also, Tony Johnson in the chat is saying the ICE commercials running now are targeting current law enforcement, specifically mentioned those frustrated with their local view on immigration enforcement.
Mm.
So a lot of propaganda out there as well on that. So I just wanted to highlight a few things that the people in the chat are talking about there, and get back to your movement over there with when it comes to that. I know that that's not all you've been working on and all you've been doing, but I do appreciate that you've become one of the people that we can go to ask about these situations and figure out what's happening next, as well. So I just was still wondering a little bit about whether or not you have any allies in this fight with you. You mentioned Senator McKinney, Senator Spivey, another senator you mentioned too. I'm sorry, I forgot her name.
Yes, Dinex Sigwaraka, he is the representative for District 7. I think it's his. I'm District 5, and I think he's District 7.
Okay.
Got it. Got
Also
it.
part of South Omaha, but he also goes north also. It's funny, my district is sort of square and his is long and narrow. So
Mm.
our shapes of our districts are a little different, but he does have part of South Omaha too. He actually has the 24th Street area in his
Mm.
district,
Oh
where
wow.
I'm west of it. So
Okay.
Okay. Cool. So you guys are trying to cover that together. That sounds that's awesome. I love that. Anything? Well. First of all, before I jump down the rabbit hole, buddy, anything that you got on top of mind, real quick?
No, no, she's pretty much answered most of my questions, whatever direction you want to take it.
Yeah, it's not really direction. I just, we're coming to the close here, and I just want to kind of make sure that we give you some time too. I know that everybody's having you on asking about the ice situation, as if that's the only thing you're doing. But I wanted to give you some time too about some other things that are concerns of yours, other things that you're working on, top of mind, that you're forming groups to fix things. Where you at? I'm
well,
sorry. Go ahead.
well, I just finished having my town halls on passenger rail. That's
Mm.
definitely an interest that I have in trying to improve the transportation system in our state. So I was very happy that I accomplished that task. I'm glad I got to receive feedback from residents. To be honest with you, I think that people see the need for it now. Maybe in years past, when other senators have tried it, the enthusiasm wasn't there. But I think people realize now how important it is to have another option. And so I'm going to continue with that. And one thing I also wanted to mention is I am going to try to introduce a bill in regards to the issue of the masks that are being worn by the ICE agents.
Mm-hmm.
So I
Mm.
am going to bring forth a bill about that also. And
Interesting.
that's another one that's going to be on my list. But passenger rail is definitely going to be a huge project to undertake. But it's just very important to me for Nebraska to make improvements to help our workforce. And I also have mentioned previously that I think it might attract other people to running for office and heading to Lincoln and being a representative for all of the districts that we had if they had another option besides driving the car all the time.
Mm.
So I'm hoping that'll attract more future talent if we can get this down the road.
Yeah, and it might be good financially for Creighton and Huskers games. Again, people traveling back and forth, catching these games, economically can be a huge impact. Love the idea.
Absolutely.
Love
Absolutely.
the
Well,
idea.
thank you. Go ahead.
Now, I did have one last thing. We were talking about OPS, and I didn't even think about the fact that again, you were a former OPS board member, and just kind of your thoughts really quickly on some of the things happening in OPS. We talked about racial disparities. Omaha World Heralds are reporting on absenteeism being an issue. Any thoughts on that?
Well, I was really surprised about how much they're spending to have an outside consultant for this issue. I mean,
Mm,
that's a lot of money, and I hope that we get a good return on that investment.
Mm,
And I wish that the disparities weren't there, and the discipline issues. I um, I definitely think that there's always more issues going on for families, right? That we really need to get to. And it's, again, another complex uh, problem that we need
mhm,
to take a look at, and always seeing what's going on at home. What are the needs that are there? How can we help the families? And that's why I'm very supportive of having more social workers on staff to try to take a look at how families can be helped and getting them the resources they need. There's always something to it. Uh, I think that the families are definitely struggling right now. And imagine the families that are struggling, that are being hit with the issue of these raids, right?
mm,
They're definitely part of our OPS family.
right, right. Yeah,
interesting.
great point.
Very great point. Really appreciate your insights and your visit here, taking the time and getting up early with us this morning. Really appreciate that very much. And really encouraged by the work that you're doing, and anytime that you want to come back and update us on some things, we'd love to have you. And we support the things that you're doing out there in a big way. Really appreciate Anthony Rogers right in the chat, saying it was a great town hall. Thank you, Senator. So I guess he was at your town hall recently. Was that at
Mhm.
Buena Vista?
No, I had
Mm.
the last town hall at the Willa Cather Library.
Oh, that's right.
Mhm.
Pro
Right.
Rail was my strong partner there, and they set up all the locations. So I was very appreciative of their efforts. But we tried to do them at public libraries. So obviously, so there was no cost.
Nice.
Very nice. Appreciate you very much. We'll catch up with you soon and get some updates on your activity.
Thank you guys very much again. You really do a great job on your show. I appreciate that you try to look at the issues. Thank you
Thank you.
very much.
Thank you for
You
that
have a you
compliment.
have a great day.
You
You
as
too.
well.
Bye bye. Oh, that was
Nice.
nice.
Okay. Little
Yeah.
love, little love.
Yeah, a little love. She always bigs us up every time I run into her out and about too. So I
Man.
appreciate that with her in a big way. Let's take a quick break. It is 8:18 right now. If you believe in the concept of time, yeah, 8 o'clock, right?
It
Uh,
depends.
yeah. Appreciate that. Shout out to Senator Margo Juarez. Man, she was going to be part of our Senator Cipher every other week. But we wanted to get her on a little earlier this time
Man.
around because the fact that she's been in the news lately and has been one of the ones that are going down seeing what's happening for herself. How many lawmakers do we have that's doing that and that's trying to talk to the people? So shout out to Senator Margo Juarez and the things that she's doing. Put some respect on her name. Appreciate her.
Hey.
Let's take a quick break. First Guy Omaha in the morning.
In the morning.
All be, buddy to God. Stay tuned, y'all. Welcome back. First Guy Omaha in the morning.
In the morning.
Like that one, buddy.
Hey,
They're my favorite. They're
yeah,
some of my
kind of
favorite.
warmed up at this point.
RG, you mentioned the trombone shorty song a little earlier. That was Pop's track. I forgot to tell you about that. He's
Hey,
still on. Yeah, shout out to Pop. Shout out to the new releases that he's doing. Didn't get a chance to pull his new release, but I'll try to do that before the end of the show. But
yeah,
once again, you're now in the second hour of First Guy Omaha in the morning, where we loosen the tie a little, if you will, and have
a little
some more
bit.
discussion. And before we get going on, just want you to make sure that you go to YouTube, like and subscribe, and check out the Lanes of Change series that we're dropping over there as well. We got more coming very shortly. The latest one is the one where we had a little bit more conversation with Mary Ewing about his ideas and talking about what he thinks change means. What do we need to change out here in the first place?
Mm,
The question. We've been talking to a few folks, and so yeah, definitely go check that out. Like the video if you would. Subscribe to our YouTube channel for more of those, and I really appreciate that very much. We also got the first annual, the inaugural First Sky Omaha Fun Fest
there you go.
fundraiser and celebration happened in Saturday, October 18th, 2025. During happy hour, 5:30 to 7:30, it's going to be a nice little short presentation, some finger foods, and so on and so forth. Some awards being given. We're pressing really hard to try to get this going right here on the Omaha Press Club is where it's happening, and there'll be more information on that soon. Today, I'll put a Facebook event there so you can have it right. All the Facebook people can have it handy, but you can also we'll also get that up on the website too, so you'll have some places to go and hit the button in order for you to register. And also, those of you that we are sending invitations to, look in your email inbox. Make sure that you're getting something from us as well, and we'll have some more information on what's going to happen on that night shortly as well. So thank you for everybody who's already registered to come through. It's going to be an interesting event. We're going to raise some funds for this work that we're trying to do here. This happens to be a free one.
Man,
There's a couple of events out there that are happening towards the end of the year that are fundraisers that are making you have do an entry fee and so on. But for our first one, we're going to do a free one, so you can come and enjoy the festivities and get this going. It'll be the first one. This the inaugural one. So that means next year is going to be even bigger, and we'll make sure it gets bigger every year so that we can
man,
really celebrate. Our whole purpose of this thing is to really celebrate the news gang, really celebrate everybody who's out here fighting for the First Amendment. Everybody's out here who's using the Fourth Estate to keep powers in check, and trying to find the solidarity in all the different sides and different groups and different factions and mainstream and alternative and everything else. Podcasts, content creators, just getting them all in the same room and saying, "Hey, we're all fighting for the same thing," and celebrate that. So that's what's happening there, and we'll continue to work on that as well. Also, earlier we had a few things that were going on recent that's coming up. I should say some haps. This is one that I didn't put out earlier today, but I wanted to. This is a mixture of what Nebraska Writers Collective is doing, and they're doing it over at NOMA, which is a nice combination there. This is their monthly poetry slam event featuring live music curated by the NOMA musicians, which is pretty cool.
nice.
I always love going to poetry shows when they got a live band backing
Getting
some of the
down.
stuff. Yeah, getting down. It's called Newish. Held on the fourth Thursday at each month. That's 2510 North 24th Street. Of course, that's NOMA. Used to be Loves Jazz. I still call it Loves Jazz from time to time, but I'm starting to call it NOMA more. So shout
Yeah,
out. We'll have this in Friends of First Guy Omaha. You can hit that QR code to get tickets. $10 to enter. There's a $50 grand prize for each event. Get your slam poetry on, man. Bring it back like 95.
man.
Going down. With that, we'll go ahead and jump into the chat a little bit. I see some people jumping in. I appreciate that very much. Mama God was talking about mask approach similar to California or significantly different. We didn't get a chance to ask her that before she left, but yeah, she's going to be fighting for that. That's exactly what I thought, Mama God. They had some success in LA with that. It got
Mhm.
signed into law the other day that they can no longer wear, ICE can no longer wear masks. And of course, everybody's up in arms about it all. So, there you go. Kimber's talking about Side, her district. Appreciate that, and appreciate you coming through as well. Also, Mama Guy says celebrate and expand. She talking
Man,
about, yeah, I love that. Love that attitude. That's
what
what's
we
up.
trying to do?
So we're trying to do. So this is the like I said, this is the hour where we'll have a little bit more discussion on some of the things that we're going to talk about, and I'll let Buddy set off what things that we are going to start talking about again, and get all of your comments on those things too. Love to hear from you. What's first on the agenda there, buddy?
Man, well, actually taking a step back a little bit and talking about this program 287G, just letting people know, man, look out for it. Stay on top. We had this conversation about whether or not local law enforcement, whether OPD, Douglas County Sheriff, and other agencies across the state will join and help out with ICE. Speaking of the mask situation, again, just the imagery of these masked men in this regalia and this, straight Gestapo. This just call it what it is. And now we have again through this program, the Trump administration emboldening and deputizing and just activating local law enforcement. But it doesn't stop there. Let's keep it going. It's not stopping there, because not only are local agencies being empowered by Trump, but apparently the FCC is getting a little gumption behind them with this new Trump administration, again, emboldening and even pushing what we're seeing from the FCC. Of course, the latest chapter is the pressure from the FCC leading to Jimmy Kimmel being suspended. But, for a little bit, apparently ABC has responded really ABC and Disney has responded to boycotts and their pockets being hit again to the tune of several $billions, and people pulling out subscriptions from Disney Plus and Paramount and other streaming platforms. Again, the people outspoken with their dollar. And we'll get into the Sinclair of it all and the other local agencies. Shout out again to Marlon Harrison, kind of, tipping us off to how, public and local TV and media works. Again, this is something that's hitting close to home for us. The reason why we got into the game is because we saw network television, channels, the ABC, NBC, CBS affiliates of the nation, kind of echoing the same. It's echo chamber, the same rhetoric, the same agenda, the same talking points. It's kind of interesting when you see, kind of get your media literacy on and really see between the lines. And this Jimmy Kimmel saga is just the latest update in that situation. Again, if you didn't hear, you've been under a rock for the last week. Jimmy Kimmel made some comments about Charlie Kirk and the person who shot Charlie Kirk, kind of comparing them to MAGA individuals. And the MAGA spoke up. And again, FCC, who was appointed, the leader of the FCC was appointed by Trump, and he did his job as far as applying that pressure. But again, here we are yesterday with some emphasis on some stations electing to, again, return Kimmel back to the airwaves. But one of the major companies in the midst of all this, who stands to, make billions of dollars from mergers from this, is actually electing not to show still. Jimmy Kimmel talking about Nexstar, which again is the company that kind of liaisons between ABC and some of the local channels. I think the closest Nexstar market is Des Moines, Iowa, if I'm not mistaken. So there aren't. I think the ABC affiliate in Nebraska is Hearst. But again, that kind of lifts the veil on how few actually companies own all of these. Like you think ABC and NBC, and there's a separation between networks, but there's not. There's Sinclair, Hearst, Nexstar. A handful of companies own all of these stations across the nation, which kind of gives you, a peek behind the veil and how much the information we digest can be controlled.
Big time, big time. And we were around when they deregulated all this, so all these big companies started buying up all these little stations. We were watching it happen in real time back in the Mind and Soul days, and we're really aware of it because of the fact that we were in radio at the time. So we watched all this happen, and now here we are years later, and these conglomerates have gotten even bigger. There's so many different. There's only a finite amount of big companies that own all these different entities, and they're trying to merge. There's a big
Mm-hmm.
a big merge that they're trying to make happen as well, even more so. We're suffering because of that, and we've been suffering because of that. That's what happens when big multinational, or not, yeah, multinational conglomerates, and even like these huge corporations are buying up these stations, and they're trying to use their influence to push a message politically. And that's what's been going on, and that's what we've been fighting about against. Like Buddy mentioned, the reason why we're doing what we're doing, so that we're not a part of that narrative. And so we've been suffering through that, but this is something that's kind of new because the FCC is involved, and the person who's running the FCC is chiming up like nobody in the SEC really has ever done before.
Man.
I was just looking at the FCC. There's the Communications Act of 1934 explicitly prohibits the FCC from censoring broadcast materials. They really are not supposed to uh, make programming decisions. There is a little stipulation in there though that they really can't like control specific content, but they can influence broadcasters on what it is that they can and can't do and can and can't say. For instance, this is the reason why we operate in the way that radio operates, where you don't use curse words and you can get fined by the FCC, is
Hmm.
because of the stipulation the FCC put there. But this is really interesting thing that we're on right now because of the fact that the FCC chair is so public and he's out here saying this is what we're going to do, and he put the pressure and also these two conglomerates that are trying to do these mergers, they need the FCC approval for these mergers. So they looked at what the FCC man wanted to do and was like, we'll do that then. We'll do that. So and then hence he was off. But again, because they don't really have the power. The FCC doesn't have the power that people think they have or they think they have. Jimmy Kimmel got back on the air. He's back on the air because those like Anthony Rogers right in the chat is saying, he said they had, what do you say? They have 5 million reasons. Disney had 4 billion reasons to
Oh
put him
yeah.
back on the air.
Oh yeah.
This had to do with everybody's protests, everybody dumping Disney, Hulu, all the situations there where there was a boycott. And so, yeah, and when it comes down to it, if their dollars is getting messed up, then they're going to do something different. They brought him back. But again, these big corporations, some of them decided, like Sinclair decided, no, we're still not going to do that. But it's just the interesting part to me here is this part that the SEC is playing right now, because this is, their role is being, their role is there's some kind of like change in the role of the SEC that's leaning a lot towards some kind of state sanctions.
Man.
We might have some state sponsored media going on here.
I mean,
So
that's what it's looking like, especially if Trump keeps leveling these lawsuits. I mean, are these networks, man, if Trump gets his way, going to be able to survive? As Kimmel did make his return yesterday, apparently the new news is Trump posted on Truth Social his frustration with ABC allowing Kimmel to return, and he is now threatening legal action against ABC. And to your point, we don't know what the FCC will do as far as going along with this madness. But again, in a post to Truth Social, Trump wrote, "I can't believe ABC fake news gave Jimmy Kimmel his job back. The White House was told by ABC that his show was canceled. Something happened between then and now because his audience is gone and his talent," he puts in quotations, "was never there. Why would they want someone back who does so poorly, who's not funny, who puts the network in jeopardy by playing 99% positive Democrat garbage?" He says he is yet another arm of the DNC, and to the best of my knowledge, that would be a major illegal campaign contribution, which is the grounds on which, again, Trump is threatening to sue. Trump referring to a 2024 settlement with ABC after anchor George Stephanopoulos made an incorrect claim that he had been found civilly liable for raping writer Jean Carroll. Again, Trump says, "I think we're going to test ABC out on this. Let's see how we do. Last time I went after them, they gave me $16 million. This one sounds even more lucrative. A bunch of losers. Let Jimmy Kimmel rot in this bad ratings." And again, this is the president of the United States.
I think it's just so funny every time he mentions something like he's talentless and all these bad ratings. Everybody in the country was anticipating Jimmy Kimmel's monologue at last night,
Come on, man.
and he delivered. He let him have it. He let him have it in a big way. So he was back, except for certain entities, and yeah. So I knew it was going to spark all this outrage. I appreciate that. Sean McCarthy in the chat is saying in 2022, Carr FCC chair even tweeted, "Political satire is one of the oldest and most important forms of free speech." Jimmy Kimmel quoted him on that too. This is what was come back to haunt him all this time. This guy Brendan Carr, who's really kind of trying to show his allegiance to Trump. And he got so many quotes from the past where he's talking about free speech, and then he does something like this. So this is interesting that that's the case again. That was the news the other day, but then I guess it was because of the decision of Carr that they let him back, and certain certain entities are letting them back. It's kind of interesting to see how this is all playing out, and then how much Trump is tweeting, and Trump is messaging out what his intentions are, who's listening to that, and who's paying attention to that, who's going to act on that. I
Man,
think.
I mean, it's to your point of Trump's messaging, it's dog whistles left and right. And let's just call it out for what it is. He's emboldening and inciting white supremacists. Let's just call it what it is. Like, we just talked about this 287G program and how essentially we're going along this states' rights situation. Last time we talked about states' rights, it was whether they had the right to enslave us or not.
Man.
And speaking of Nebraska, I don't really, haven't really talked about this, but it's kind of interesting the role that Nebraska specifically played in slavery. Again, do we need to talk about the Nebraska-Kansas Act?
Remind us.
Again, it was a situation where it was sent to states' rights. States had the right on whether or not they would allow slavery, and some individuals were for it and some individuals were against it. The same in Nebraska. You think about when the vote to go up to remove the 13th Amendment from the state constitution, over 300,000 people voted to keep slavery on the ballot in Nebraska. So I'm just saying, the more things change, the more they stay the same. And you got to pay attention to the rhetoric that's being presented, not just with this 287 program, but how we're seeing the Jimmy Kimmel situation play out. Again, Carr, the head of the FCC, changing his tune, saying notably, this is the first time recently that any local TV stations have pushed back on a national programmer like Disney. He's saying, and that is a good thing because we want empowered local TV stations. After all, local TV stations, not the national programs, have public interest obligations, and they should be making decisions that, in their view, meet the needs of their local communities. Again, this is why First Sky exists, because local TV stations don't care about us. Do you need to go to a Channel 7 comment section? Do we need to remind you of how the whole OHA system was? They try to play in our face, like act like they were in a unit when they were in the lobby. And these are the people that were relying to tell us the truth. These are the people that care about the communities.
And listen, this car guy is already sus by him saying this is the first time of these small, he call them small stations are pushing back. First of all, they're not small stations. They're conglomerates of several hundreds of stations are all around the country because of the way that they have deregulated this and allowed them to buy them all up. And second of all, just you don't think that there were TV stations in the South that didn't want to play Sesame Street back in the day because they felt it was too integrated? Like, just the fact that he made that statement right there tells me he don't know what he's talking about at all. You ain't even researched your own job, the history of your own position, because there's been the stations push back all the time on stuff. This is you deciding that you want to be a part of this whole situation with Trump and making the decisions that you're making and then getting pressured back. I think it's really interesting. While you're looking at that, I'm gonna jump in the chat real quick. Sean McCarthy saying the ABC move is scary, but I think suing news outlets is even scarier. The New York Times has the resources to fight back a 500 million lawsuit, but others may not have those resources. Others do not have those resources. Most do not have those resources. So yes, him suing, it's insane. Mama Guy says, didn't they say it was a business decision? Talking about the conglomerates that decided not to play him. They also it's funny that those big like Sinclair's, like we're just, our people did not want him to say these things. When are they checking with the people who are watching their channels on what they once said? They're just making a broad statement for people who are watching their channels. They're making that statement for us, which is crazy. Anthony Rogers Rice says even Ted Cruz called out the FCC chair. That's gangster. Gangster AF. Yeah, it is. Even Ted Cruz calling people out. Sean McCarthy says even Don Bacon and Pete Hegseth's media restrictions on reporting on the Pentagon was moronic. Man, war on truth, war on news in a big way.
Man, I mean, that's news game. News game. To speak truth to power is gangster. They don't want to hear it. They gonna get this work though.
Biko Kwanzaa in the chat giving us a good morning. Appreciate that. He said, "Good morning, my brothers. First sky in the morning. I'd like to know more about the program 287G. Got any more information on that, buddy? We can throw at him or a place to click and read
Yeah,
up.
we dropped the link with that map. It's all on the same page. All the information is on the same page. You can re-drop that link right
Yeah,
there.
let's see, is that the one you right here? Just okay. There we
Yep,
go.
yep, yep. Just ice.gov.
Cool, cool.
Identify and arrest.
Appreciate that. Click on that link there and definitely check that out, man.
Yeah,
Interesting time.
and couple that 287G program with the fact that they again the Supreme Court did legalize racial profiling. Like again, you got racial profiling, you have license plates that can be scanned, and you have local law enforcement that now have the delegation of authority to stop you. So Omaha Police Department is one agreement away from being able to racial profile anybody they want to.
And if you're a voter, they get ready to also make so that all your information is getting copped that way as well. So
Man, great segue. You want to jump into that?
yeah, let's do that. Let's do that. Because this is interesting.
It is, man, and it does look like it's kind of a foregone conclusion. It looks like Nebraska might be with the foolishness, if you will. Going from one lawsuit talking about Trump suing all these media outlets to another. Now that a lawsuit has been filed, this according to Channel 3 KMTV news reporting. I don't see it. Oh, Molly Hudson on the reporting. According to Molly in this report, a lawsuit has been filed seeking to prevent the disclosure of voter registration information, which has been requested by the U.S. Department of Justice. That's according to the Nebraska Secretary of State's office. The DOJ sent a letter earlier this month on September 8th to the Secretary of State, Bob Evnen, requesting voter information, including full names, birth dates, addresses, driver license numbers, and the last four digits of social security numbers. Opponents say that they're worried about the federal government's ability to safeguard people's information. There's already been several huge data breaches this year. I mean, just about everybody's social security number is compromised. I'm just letting you know now. There's been several data breaches, and now do we expect the federal government to be more secure on our information? Probably not. Probably not.
Thanks, Doge. Appreciate it.
Man, right. So efficient. But the Secretaries of State office is actually saying that they have not provided any information in response to the letter. But there is a report from Channel 7 that Attorney General Mike Hilger says that the Department of Justice request is actually well within bounds. So again, while Bob Evnen, the Secretary of State's office, hasn't responded, again, the Attorney General is speaking up and saying that this might be a possibility. Again, the Department of Justice requesting this information. In response, Hilger says, I think the information that the Department of Justice is seeking is well within bounds. It's well within the law. Certainly, I'm sensitive to the concerns of Nebraskans about their own personal information. It's one that we all need to take into account. Having said that, we are in active litigation and we have a Nebraska case going on, and we'll see what the courts have to say. Again, Hilger has recognized the national conversation around voter fraud and says, I think this voter fraud issue is a very significant issue that people need to look at. There's no doubt there's voter fraud that goes on around the country. So again, this whole boogeyman hunt is still being pushed. Again, the same boogeyman hunt that led to, speaking of lawsuits, Fox News being sued for, again, their false reporting, speaking of fake news. So again, here we are with lawsuits being levied, but the powers that be still mulling it over.
Interesting. Even in that the speech that he gave, he only cited that one site. We're going to investigate this voter fraud.
Mm-hmm.
This is the thing that we posted the other day from Channel 7, which I think is really interesting too, for a reason I'll bring up in a second. DOJ requesting Nebraska voter data. This is the stuff that they're talking about, requesting full driver's license numbers, exact date of birth, last four digits of social security. And as we posted this on Friends of First Sky Omaha, reporter Keetran Zeichel, shout out to Keetran, asked the question, are they going to be asking about party affiliation as well? And they will. In other articles we read, this is what they're going to be asking as well. So first of all, I think it's real interesting Channel 7 didn't list it. Secondly, I think that basically that what they're doing is targeting the party. So they want to know your party affiliation and all your information. What does that sound like to you? Does it sound like an intimidation tactic to anyone as far as I'm concerned?
Man, I mean, that's what some headlines I'm seeing are calling it. But I'm glad you brought that point up, because I'm thinking of Trump's latest comments at the Charlie Kirk memorial, and how he's talking about he hates his opposition, and how he wants nothing good to happen for the opposition. And it does seem like um Trump's comments are inciting violence. Let's just call it what it is. And it does feel like, things are getting tense for elected officials. Point in case, we had Sister Kimra post a video just, what was it, yesterday, talking about how she felt threatened, or, how she felt unsafe as a school board member because some of the comments that were made at a school board meeting. And it's not lost upon me that, again, according to the FBI themselves, Nebraska has the most active hate groups in the nation. So when I see Trump spewing hate, literally, and some of the things that we're seeing, it's a cause for concern.
Most definitely. Just to give Kimra a little love on that statement as well. On her video, she talked about a person that came up to speak at the school board meetings. First of all, she definitely wants to keep on putting the call out for us to attend these school board meetings. School board is just as important as any other. OPS is just as important as any other entity in the city, especially
Mhm.
with that $1 billion budget. You have to kind of understand like what their position is in the city, and how people on the school board and stuff like that are on the front lines, and that's what she was really trying to bring out. She says there was a person that showed up to he wanted cameras in the classroom. He was trying to get something off onto the school board. They needed to vote on it, and he made the statement, for those of you that didn't vote yes, there will be consequences, and it was something that triggered her, like, oh really? What does that mean? And from her understanding and understanding about other school boards and other things that's going on around this country, and the fact that members of the school board can be targeted and are on the front lines when it comes to that violence too. They think about it a lot when it comes to the mayor and all the other elected positions, but they don't think too much about it when it comes to school board people. And that's what she was trying to bring out. Like, they're on the front lines. You're dealing with people's kids. You might be subject to some violence, and you might have to be protecting yourself there. So they talked about that a lot. She talked about that a lot, and she talked about keeping that in mind. That this is how heavy these subjects are here, because now we're not just talking about people's beliefs, but their kids as well, and how much that's a factor. So so, we think that when you think, is there going to be attacks on us? Where are they going to be attacking people? Where are they what have they been trying to take over these past 3 or 4 years? The school system. Then it really makes you be like, you know what? She's absolutely right. We need to be paying more attention to that in a big way. Just like Anthony Rogers Wright in the chat is saying, standard fascist playbook. I mean, you can't have a fascist playbook without thinking about what they're going to do with school, and
Man,
and you know what I'm saying. He says, "We're here, y'all. It's not coming. It's here, and in consolidation mode." That's right. It's not. This is not coming anymore. They're speaking the exact same language, saying some of the exact same phrases as they were saying in Nazism, as you were talking about earlier, about how about these calls, these dog whistles, and these calls. These, whenever you have an other, whenever you have an alien, whenever you have somebody who's they're them and we're us, and when you start making those calls and putting labels on people, this is what happens. That's the beginning of that fascist playbook that Anthony Rogers Wright is talking about. It's already happening.
man,
It's already here.
man, man.
Marlon says, I remember learning about Sinclair Media in college, and learning about how they are conservative and how they force feed their journalists to say certain things.
Yeah.
Interesting. Also, Anthony Rogers Wright is saying, clear violation of 1974 Privacy Act, the 10th Amendment, and Article 2 of the Constitution. Cheryl Weston says this state secretary and government are probably going to give it up. When Secretary of State Gale received a similar request, he immediately denied the request.
Mhm.
Interesting. I think they're going to be giving up our information. Anthony Rogers Wright said even Mississippi's Secretary of State told Trump to go jump in the Gulf of Mexico over this. Very interesting site. Interesting comment there. Tony Justice asking, public on Nebraska voter site. Not really sure if that information is public on Nebraska voter site. We'll have to go check that out, or you can check it out for us and let us know.
Mhm.
Ariels 402 says, if they have all voter information, they have ability to change a vote and voters will not know. And I wasn't even thinking of that. I was thinking more of the intimidation of the person that got all your information, know which way you're voting, and how they might intimidate or how they may change things up. You never know; they might change things up that way too.
Yeah, I mean, it's definitely a question worth asking when you had Trump himself making comments of this being the last election and threatening just the election process in general. And I mean, they've already stormed the Capitol. I mean, so when you know, hey, if people tell you who they are, believe them. Believe them.
Anthony Rogers Wright says, I told city council yesterday to consider stop forcing people to give their addresses before they testify.
Mm.
I'm glad you brought that up. The school board situation that Kimmer was speaking of, the man who stood up there to ask about having cameras in classrooms, went through a whole thing there too about not wanting to give his address out when he was doing that, and everything is kind of coming to that. We're talking about trying to get rid of masks from ICE agents. And the reason why they started wearing masks in the first place because people were identifying them, and according to law enforcement, their families were getting threatened because they were being identified, which is why they had to put the masks on in the first place. We're getting into this thing where people are using information against us, and people are also using information for us, and doing the same thing. I've seen that a lot lately. As a matter of fact, it kind of started with me with TikTok and a bunch of kids that are always debating and going back and forth about stuff, and of course these white kids are calling them the N words and all this other stuff. And one of these white kids got stopped in his tracks because the black kid said, is that right? So and so at such and such address with your mom's maiden name is blah blah blah. Like, stopped him in his tracks because he had his information too. And this is what's happening. This is what's going on. Everybody got everybody's information. Everybody can get it, and they feel like these are threats. So here's the government doing this, saying, hey, we want all your information. We want to know who you are, who you voted for, which way you vote, and what are you going to do with that information? What do you do when you get that information from people? I wasn't going to talk about this quite yet. We only got about 9 minutes left in the show, but I will say this. I'll come back and talk about this another day. When I first got in town, one of the first jobs I took was buying and selling data. And this was back in 2010. And I can already see that everybody had everything already. I always say that.
Hmm.
Like, don't, and do your best to try to protect yourself, but the information's out there already. Social media
I
sells
mean,
it.
we give it up.
Magazine subscription sells it. You give it up. This is not anything they had to dig and get. You give it up all. You give your information up all the time, and they have it all. And then there's of course data breaches and stuff over the years where even
Hmm.
sensitive material is out there. So there's things you got to protect. But I will say that I really see now, like more than ever, the ability to be able to protect yourself and protect your data, protect who you are, is almost like starting to feel like it's a little bit impossible. But people are also trying to find ways because people also really care about not just their data, but their safety, but their family safety. How keep your kids protected. Interesting stuff to kind of consider and go through. So we'll definitely continue to talk about some of these things later. Kimra in the chat says, I want to acknowledge that the one person who did reach out to me outside Bobby Brumfield regarding security was Anthony Rogers Wright.
Nice.
Appreciate that very much. Also, she made mention that Sherman Wells popped up as, I put in the chat that maybe we ought to have an X watch there. I see Tony Johnson was talking about having one of the black security companies protect. Yeah, there's some talk about that all the way around. We have a few black security teams, and we have the new community thing called X Watch that Black Agenda Alliance and Sherman and them have been putting together as well. So yeah, that's my first thought, is to start to think about that because we really do need that in our teaching of citizen journalism. In what we're doing. We already decided that it's got to be people going in twos. It could be a cameraman and a reporter. If they go out,
Hmm.
they try to get this news, and part of the thing is they watch each other's back. They look for each other. When we say news gang, it's got to be a gangster. It's got to be gangster to be able to do these things, because now you're in that kind of a war. You're absolutely having to protect yourselves to be able to do the news, just to be able to get the story, tell the story, and be out. And you got to think of it that way, because they don't want you there, and it could be detrimental. So we think about safety in those areas, and the more we get to hang out with these public officials that come onto the show, we realizing that too. Who's protecting Kimra Snipes? Who's protecting people on the school board? We're starting to think of these things a little bit differently now because of the times we're in.
Man, man. Again, I mentioned it here on this show several times. Like just that 60-year cycle that we're in. And more things change, the more they stay the same. And history might not repeat, but it definitely rhymes. So you can learn from the past. And it's just very interesting the times that we're in, but you gotta recognize it for what it is. And big shout out to those who are courageous enough to take off the rose colored glasses and speak truth to power.
6 minutes, 6 minutes, 6 minutes, brother. Fresh, you're on. On.
Hey.
Got 6 more minutes before we get out of here. Appreciate you guys. Yes, RG, we are on TikTok. We never got off of TikTok. We just stopped doing stuff on it, but we find ourselves more on it personally,
Mm-hmm.
and because of the fact that a lot of reporters are going that route. Other people too, but a lot of reporters. There's a lot of news that is being disseminated on TikTok. It is kind of like a lot of the reporters moved from Twitter, which they were on big time. After turning to X, they kind of started flocking off
Mm.
certain ones, and you hear a lot of news now on TikTok. And we thought, we're assessing what's going on with social media in general and who's doing what. We move away from some, move into others. It's interesting.
I got a thought on that. And it kind of goes back to the conversation we were having about going underground and just re-examining the channels of communication. Like, how are we communicating with each other? And this is something that really jumped out to me recently as I'm just surfing and browsing through social media. The pervasive use of bots in some of these chats, and it's kind of swirling in my mind, like, how much of the internet is actually real people? How many arguments and debates do we get into that are AI bots? And like, I don't know how many people recognize how much of the internet is not real. And
Yeah,
when I say it's not real, I'm talking about, like, these aren't real people on the other end of these accounts
right.
at all.
We've
These are
all been
bots.
we've all been subject to them. If you think you haven't, you're wrong.
You're wrong.
You've argued with a bot.
And you
Straight up.
just don't know it. And I'm starting to pay attention to it myself. So social media literacy, please, y'all, gain it. Because again, as we're getting more into these conversations, as the channels of communication are getting clamped down on, please understand that a lot of American society is being controlled. A lot of the way that we're thinking, the things that we're responding to emotionally, getting involved in, getting wrapped up in, researching, a lot of that stuff is being pushed by bots, by people who are programming AI programs that have an agenda, that are trying to get you riled up. And the only way that I figured it out is because these bots were in chats and they were talking about stuff that I wasn't even talking about. Like, they're presenting information and presenting ideas just for the sake of getting people riled up. These aren't real people. Understand, this is going, like, people are getting riled up for a reason. Your energy is being used for a reason.
Man,
Let's not just be in a reactive state.
if you can get out of that reactive petty state, then you've already won the game, bro. Straight up.
Man, this is just a real thing. Again, there's no article out there about it. This is something that Buddy the God himself has recognized, but I'm talking to people. It's real.
There's plenty of articles out there about it. It's been proven. Russia sent a bunch of bots and had an effect on the election, and that's a proven thing. This is years ago that this has happened. 2008. So you don't think, if you think with AI that's going on right now, that you ain't talking to bots. If you don't know, if you don't live alive with one another and know each other personally and talk to each other face to face and see each other in person, or know, if you don't know them, you just know of them and they're out and about and you see them in person. You don't really know what's being said all the time. You don't know who you're talking to all the time. There's still, we as close knit of a chat chimer situation that we have here. There's still people in the chat that we have not met face to face, and I don't think it's bots, but it might be people who have alternative names out there that are trying to infiltrate and bring up things. And you'll see it in our chat. You'll see it in our chat when we're on a discussion, and half 85% of the chat chimers are all in the same, on the same boat having a discussion, and then somebody come in with something that's way left, and it could just be that person's agenda. It could be this person has a alternative name that they got out there, and they're throwing this in to try to manipulate and change the conversation. We deal with it here, and it's that way all the time. So when we talk about when we talk about how important it is to get together, Chet Chalmers Kickback, live alive with one another. Now the fun fest that we're going to do every year, and just being out in community with people and showing up at City Hall with people and showing up to, to City View and helping people move some boxes and everything that we're talking about doing. You have to have, it's not just communication, it's also got to be community. And
Mm-hmm.
it's got to be together, and for us to be able to trust the news that's being disseminated to each and every one of us. And it's also, it garners this discussion. Does stuff sound right to you?
Man.
Do you read these articles and just believe what you believe? Does it jive with what you know about human beings? Does it match anything in the past? Do you think it might be propaganda? Do you know what propaganda even means? Do you know what it is? Do, if somebody is eloquently speaking something on the mic, does that mean he's right all the time? Like, is every head with dreads for the cause? No.
Man. Man. There you go. So don't get caught up in appearance.
And this has been another First Sky Black experience. We're out of here. It's 9:00.
Hey.
If you believe in the concept of time, we appreciate everybody who's jumped in. And I didn't get to all of your comments, but I appreciate all of your comments. Definitely go back and check the show out and read all the comments on Facebook and YouTube. Like and subscribe over on YouTube if you will. And also spread the word. You can also spread the show, put the show on your page even after the fact. For the moment, for the most part, for a while, Facebook has already decided to start getting rid of videos that go back a certain amount of time. And we're talking about changing some things up too, so we can kind of own our content a little bit better than we have been.
Man.
So stay tuned for that. Be looking at getting updates on the website on how to reach certain parts of our content as well, since we have to now take into account that anytime this stuff can get taken down from any of these social media channels, point blank, period. We're riding the line right now until it happens, but it very well might. With that, buddy, you got some words for the people?
Yeah. Big shout out to Senator Margo Juarez. Really enjoyed our conversation with her, man. Man, it's great. It's great. Big shout out to her. Looking forward to having her on, and other senators for more senator ciphers, man. It's a thing, and I appreciate the support from all of you. Hopefully, you're getting as much as we are from these conversations. And if so, we're gonna keep them coming, man. So again, we appreciate you. We love you. We thank you. Catch the same time, same place, right here on First Sky Omaha in the morning. And in the meantime, between time, look out on YouTube for more Lanes of Change episodes and segments coming out. Again, the latest is from our conversation with Mayor John Ewing. So again, big shout out to him for allowing us to take some time to speak with them. More segments from that conversation coming out. More work. Look out for that. And of course, every Friday, look out for our weekly wrap. In the meantime, between time, Paul B.
Yo.
Take it away, man.
Man, just want to give a shout out to Pops for coming on this morning. Also, he got his music coming out here coming soon. Lost Anthology Volume 2 is happening. The Lost 2. Yes. Looking forward to that. It was very surprising. Me and him been on the phone, talk about some things and dealing with some, death in the family on this side and all kinds of stuff going on. Had no idea he was also about to release his next musical project. So that's what's up. Lost Anthology Volume 2 is coming soon. So check it out over at Pop's page, Paul B. Allen the third. And definitely check him out, man. And, he's one of the Chad Chimers and one of the big time supporters here.
Hey.
And so we always gonna big him up as well. Also, RG is reminding us before we get out of here, One Stop Cancer Shop. Man, it's September 27th. This is coming up. Put this on your calendar here. It's between 9:30 and 1:30. Go ahead and get screened. It's anything that can help you prevent some things, especially when it comes to cancer, without you having to come out the pocket if you don't have insurance or use your insurance to go to your doctor or whatever you got to do. If you can find a free screening, you might as well jump on it. So shout out to everybody who's putting this on, and shout out to RG who's been pushing this as well. Let's not be them black folks that don't like going to the doctor and just wants to avoid bad news.
Man,
go ahead to the One Stop Cancer Shop and get screened. It's not going to cost you nothing but a little bit of time in the morning. So let's get down.
Yeah, and not doing it could cost you everything. So
there you go. Pop says, thanks for a great show. This is one of the best and most unique news platforms on the air. Love you guys. Keep on keeping on. Thanks, Pops.
Love.
Appreciate you very, very much. I appreciate all of you too. Let's go ahead and get out of here. We got the Umaha tribe elders that we always like to give some honor to. We talked to them one time and asked them, do they mind if we're on this land since it was theirs originally? They said, no, we don't mind you being on here at all, and keep speaking. And that's what we try to do all the time. So shout out to the Omaha tribe elders for allowing us to be on this land and speak while we're here. shout out to our elders allowing us to speak before you. And for those of you who don't know what that means too, in Black culture, a lot of Black culture, some Black culture, that we take speaking in before our elders very seriously. So if we're in the room and we're having some discussion and the whole family's there, we let the elders speak first. Elders give young people the permission to be able to speak before them. So we thank that our elders for allowing us to speak before you and to speak for our community. And we also appreciate you, the chat chimers, allowing us to speak with you in the way that we do. We really appreciate all your comments. I'm sorry I didn't get to all the comments, all the questions. We'll have Senator Margo Juarez on again to ask some of those other questions, especially Brother Anthony Rogers Wright brought out that I didn't get to. But I appreciate everybody who went along with us and went along with this conversation and added to it in a big way. We can't do this without you, so we really appreciate it. If you missed any parts of that interview, please go back and check it out on YouTube or Facebook. If you're on YouTube, please like and subscribe over there as well. Look out for the newsletter, like Buddy said, on Friday. And let's keep living alive with each other and stay in touch and get on the same page if possible.
Man.
That's what we got to do. Appreciate you guys very much. We're going to go ahead and get out of here and take care of yourselves. We'll see you Friday.
Peace.
By the way, Vanglorious, this is protected by the red, the black, and the green. At the crossroad, with a key.
By any